Greetings, chess enthusiasts. Sasonic here. Today I'm going to do a little review here on the Excalibur Grandmaster chess computer. It's not a new computer by any means. In fact, I think it's discontinued and difficult to find, but you may discover a pre-owned one out there. They have it on Amazon, although they marked up the price quite a bit, or maybe Craigslist, but there was no review on it that really did its justice, and maybe Excalibur or another company will make another one that's as good as this. Online chess is really popular now, but in my opinion, there's still something to be said about actually having the board physically tangible in front of you and putting on a table. I could just play better. I know some people can play on their iPhone or iPad. iPad, not too much of a problem, but I just have better artistic judgment when I actually have the board in front of me. And one of the cool things about this is it's got a nice control panel there and LCD screen, and actually not LCD, but screen on both sides. Squares are labeled, and there's a magnet in each piece, so knows what you've played. There's Black's response. And this set doesn't always do the same thing every time. It has different book openings, and it could react differently according to what level you're playing, obviously, as well. There's a lot of different settings, which I'll go over in a minute. First, let me go over the size and aesthetics here. As I said, it's a good size chessboard, 20 inches across, squares, exactly 2 inches. So it's a good size for a portable chess computer, much better than the other ones in the market, which are probably half this size. The pieces are pretty nice. Look at the pawn and the horse, knight, king, 3.75 inches. If you want to check the weight, scale over here. I mean, it is weighted. It has a magnet in it as well. 33 grams. And by contrast, here is just one of those vinyl chess club or teaching school sets. And that's only 28 grams, so a little bit more weighted than just a typical light plastic piece. It's pretty difficult to beat this computer. It's supposed to be a 2200 rating. Most people dispute that and say it's less. Of course, it depends on the situation, the type of game you're playing. Sometimes you can be in a game that has deep calculations, and it may be a board position that suits a computer better than a human. And in that case, I think this board can be really challenging. It has, according to the literature, level 2 through 6 are particular plies, and there's no telling how much time that will take. It'll be according to the complexity of the situation on the board. You can also set it to fixed time for each move if you don't want to sit and wait around forever. And it will make good moves with the short time constraints. This would be very difficult to beat in a blitz game. I personally am not a blitz player. I need time. I'm a whole different player when I have time to formulate a strategy and think about each move. I'm more of a 25 minutes and up game for each side type of player. These are some other settings you can put there. And then you can do the tournament type settings, 60 moves every 60 minutes. And this is interesting. There is an infinite search option too. And I did an interesting experiment with this. I was looking on YouTube and came across the Deep Blue versus Garry Kasparov game. It was the third match in 1997, the one that had a controversial move, which Garry Kasparov claimed that there might have been human intervention. He said actually like Maradona's hand of God. And I actually put that same position, because you can set up positions on this board if you ever want to try from a particular position or see if this computer will react like other computers. or you could also see something in a article or book where you want to try a position. It has a mate finder as well. But anyway, going back to that Deep Blue and Kasparov game, I set up that same position one move before the controversial rook move. I believe it was a bishop move. I think it was bishop to either d3 or e4, one of those squares, and Gary thought that it was a human move because it showed a lot of deep creativity and positional playing, something computers were not known for. So I set up that same position with this set under infinite search, and I gave it 30 minutes to think, and obviously I left the room and came back, and it didn't make that move, but one move later it did. So that just goes to show you that, Deep Blue may be an old computer, but it was extremely powerful. And this is just, a portable chess computer. It wasn't a giant computer with all the processors that Deep Blue had. And it was capable of making that type of similar type of move, which was pretty interesting to me. So overall, I think this is a pretty high quality set. I hope in the future that we can get some more powerful computers with even more options, maybe even a higher quality screen that is similar to this. And definitely I like that you can just move the pieces. Many of these chess computers, you have to push downward to activate that square, and it'll tell you, okay, you pushed A2, and then you go to the next place and you got to put a little muscle into it and put it down. The good thing about this board is, you just lift a piece. It knows I lifted the knight on B1. And I move it to C3, and it knows D7 to D5 is the response. There you go. Very easy to play. It can be very challenging according to the level that you select, and it's overall well made. Just takes 4 AA batteries. There's an optional AC adapter. A little bit difficult to place because it is a good size, almost like a tournament club size, a couple inches different. So you need a good sized table, and then you can also do tournament controls to play against an opponent. Although I don't really use this board to play against a friend or family member. I use it just to use the computer. So I would rate this as a pretty good chess computer, especially if you don't like looking at a screen, especially if you prefer to play on the board. Personally, I play much better when I'm able to sit on a chair properly, set up the pieces, and move them by hand. That's the way I learned how to play. That's the way I prefer to play. Some people can play on an iPhone with no problems, but that's just what I prefer. So I'm going to get some more screenshots so you can see the board. So if you come across one at a good price and you want to get better at chess, I would highly recommend it. And one last thing I didn't mention, it has some famous games programmed into it that you can follow, and it has a number of chess openings that it'll kind of just go step by step, and it actually gives you a score according to how many you did correctly, so you can learn some of the famous openings and you won't find yourself out of position when you play a pretty high rated player if you can pick up some of these openings. So that's it. The Excalibur Grandmaster chess computer.